Hi y'all, I'm Allison. I'm going to be doing 4 extra reading challenges during the year of 2024, and I thought it would be fun to play a game with each of them. Randomize things as much as possible, because I've noticed with Buzzword lately, I've been very indecisive, having a hard time of matching a book with a prompt because I just want to read everything. So a Buzzword is the perfect opportunity for me to play a 1 of 3 every month. So I will be doing that moving forward. I'm also doing a Storygraph challenge where you randomize your to read pile and stuff like that. So I'm going to share that with you. And then of course we have our new rec wheel. I will be spinning that every month. And G over at Book Roast just released the Aeldia Adventures for 2024. So Nosilla will be back along with Storytime each month. So this is going to be a new video you can expect to see once a month. Now, as far as the Buzzword 1 of 3 game, we will actually be starting that one in February because Just Spin It, my very first prompt was Buzzword. So I've already chosen and then there were none. So watch for that one in February. We'll play it. So for the Storygraph Randomization challenge, I had to filter my to read pile according to fast paced and under 300 pages. And I also marked books I own, so all of my little wish list is off of there. That gave me 241 books as a possibility. Then I had to use a random number generator, and it brought me to The Seer of Shadows by Avi. So in 1872, New York City, Horace, who was raised to be very scientific in his thinking, is apprenticed to be a society photographer. And he thinks of his trade as scientific art. When a society matron hires him to do a photographic portrait, Horace's first real photographs show a frightening likeness to the matron's dead daughter, Eleanor. Horace learns more about how the daughter died through the black servant girl, Peg, and the two of them soon realize that the photographs are evoking Eleanor's image and her ghost. Eleanor returns a vengeful wraith, intent on punishing those who abused her. So this is actually a middle grade, and I'm really looking forward to this. All right, so next month we will, like I said, play 1 of 3 for Buzzword, and I'll bring you along for the ride on choosing my next randomized book from Storygraph. By the way, if anybody else wants to do that and play with the filters and everything in Storygraph, then the challenge you want to look for is Randomize-ish your TBR 2024. I'll put it on the screen for you. I think it's going to be fun to do it this way. Let's move on to the rec wheel. This is going to be the first time spinning it. Y'all have come up with a great list of books, and I can't wait to see which one I'm going to start off January with. So now, these are books that you obviously have recommended, and you gave me stopping points. So whichever one wins, I will film a reading vlog on it, and every time I hit one of your page numbers, I will turn on my camera and let you know what I think about the book up to that point. So let me pull up the wheel, we'll give it a spin, and then we'll find out which one will be our very first rec wheel winner. Over here to the computer. Okay, let's see what we get. I'm excited. I wonder whose book is going to show up first. Elizabeth P. Powerless. Let me look that up. So we've got Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This isn't a book I was aware of, and I love this cover. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, this is the first in a series, and I think it's going to be a romantasy. So it's a romance fantasy, and it looks like it's going to be a fun time. We've got a fantastical world, a magic system, and a forbidden romance that is going to blossom during a competition. I love competitions and fantasies, and I am looking forward to this. So she is the very thing that he spent his whole life hunting, and he is the very thing that she spent her whole life pretending to be. So I'm going to go into this one blind, I think. I will do a reading vlog for this. So Elizabeth Pert, I'm going to need you to give me some stopping points. So you didn't include those in your comment, but you've got time. It's a 500-page book, so if you want to give me 4 or 5 stopping points, whichever, even 6 if you want, because this will be in one video. It's just whenever I reach that page number, I will close the book, turn on the camera, and tell y'all what I think of the book so far. This is a newish release. It came out in 2023. So I will keep this video spoiler free. I'll just let you know how I'm enjoying it. I will keep things vague so I don't ruin it for anyone. Okay, this is exciting. A great start for the rec wheel. So let's move on to our last decision that I need to make. And that is for Iliad Adventures. G over at Book Roast is bringing it back this year. I had a lot of fun with it last year, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. So this is a choose your own adventure. If you haven't seen it, then I definitely go over to G's channel and check it out. It's a lot of fun. Now, of course, I can't do anything Aurelium related without Nosilla, because, you know, she's the whole reason we ended up going to Aurelium to begin with. And for those of you who are not familiar with Nosilla, she is my character that I created for G's very involved reading challenge that she does twice a year, Aurelium Academy, the Magical Readathon. If you want some back history on Nosilla, she was created randomly using G's prompts, and I played little games for every little step of the way. I will have down in the description a link of the playlist so you can go and check out all of the random craziness that went into her creation, because it started simple and it really kind of went over that top, which I tend to do, but it's been a lot of fun. So now, before we get into it, we've got a little bit of a story, because I have heard from Nosilla. It's been a while. I haven't heard from her since the fall semester ended in September. So now Nosilla's gotten herself in a little bit of a predicament, and she's asking for our help. See, she decided to stay at Aurelium after school got out at the end of the fall semester, because there was a class she wanted to sign up for. It was the advanced inscription. So she deciphered the ancient scroll and learned the transformation spell, and she now has the ability to turn into a phoenix. So the sacrifice of staying at school was definitely worth it. Now she has decided that she wants to travel home to Dayrune. She's a dwarf, and that's where she's from. So she wants to go see her family before the spring semester starts up in April. But she's got a little bit of a journey ahead of her. So her and her white wolf familiar, Fenris, set out at the end of December for her homeland. At the very onset of their trip, luckily they stumble across a village, and it is market day. There are numerous stalls open and operating, offering everything from food to blankets to trinkets. And Nosilla decides they have a little bit of time to go browse the wares, see if there's anything that she would like to have or to take home to her family. So as she's meandering through, checking out everything there is, getting a scope of the land before making any decisions, with Fenris trotting along happily at her side. Unfortunately, it doesn't take long before the day takes a turn, because coming at her from the opposite direction are the three people she is least happy to see, and that is the three sisters. These girls are descendants from the Fates, you know, those Fates. And they are the ones who, in fact, were responsible for the fate cards that dictated the tone of Nosilla's day every day at school last semester. So once again, one of them seems to have a beef with Fenris, and she comes charging up, ranting and railing about how Fenris had knocked her down into the mud and ruined her best cloak. So Nosilla is tired of this girl just blaming everything on Fenris, because it happens nonstop. I mean, she really needs to get some anger management classes going. So the two are bickering back and forth. Just when things are reaching a boiling point between the two girls, the wind changes directions, and Fenris gets a whiff of a roasted suckling pig on a spit. Now this, of course, is more than any wolf is expected to ignore. He's hungry, and it smells good. So with a quick glance at Nosilla, he confirms that she is fully focused on her argument, and he bolts, takes off. knocking people down left and right as he tries to find where this roasted pig is. Before she knows it, people are chasing after him, and Nosilla goes into a panic trying to figure out what happened. All she sees is this trail of destruction going through the middle of this market square. So, to get there faster, she turns into a phoenix, but she hasn't really practiced that much, so she causes some destruction of her own and burns a couple of nearby abandoned stalls. The owners haven't showed up yet, so nobody was hurt, but there was some property damage. So she flies off to catch up to Fenris to stop whatever's going on, because there are people with pitchforks chasing after him. She catches up to him just as the guards descend, and he is just sitting there proudly with a big old piece of meat in his mouth, wagging his tail. He is a happy little wolf. She is not. Upon seeing that he is in fact okay, she transforms back into her original dwarf form just as the guards swoop in and arrest them both. And then they are thrown into a dungeon. Not how she wanted her journey to begin. So now she has to figure out how she's going to get out of here. Now, luckily for her, she is an Order of the Crescent, and her guild is very in tune with what is going on. And since they are close to Aurelium Academy still, it doesn't take long for the guild to hear of her plight. Now, they all have a soft spot for Fenris, because even though he does cause some trouble, he is a sweet little wolf that loves to curl up with everyone. And he makes a great blanket on the cold nights. So, while the guild does not have the power to get her released through proper channels, they do have some resources at their disposal. After a couple of days, a crow arrives at the little slit of a window that she has in her dungeon cell, and it drops in a scroll. It's from the Order of the Crescent. Now, Fenris has been locked up with her, and he is quite bored. So when this scroll comes flying through the window, he immediately pounces on it and picks it up with his mouth. Thankfully, Nosilla was able to get it from him before he destroyed it completely, but he did compromise the ink. It's a little smudged. So now the scroll obviously can't just tell her, here's what you do for the jailbreak. Because if it is intercepted by the guards, then the Order of the Crescent would be in trouble, and Nosilla would be even in more trouble than she already is. But she does recognize, through some symbols that are on the edge of the stationery, that there is a code in there that will help her get out of jail. The guild was able to pull some strings and give her access to the library, and she will be able to request one book. And within this book will be instructions for her to break out of jail. So now she just has to make sure that she requests the right book. Because again, if this letter is intercepted and that was the only book listed, it would be quite obvious. Then the guards would just check the book beforehand, and they may stumble upon the escape plan themselves. So we need to find out how Nosilla is going to get out of this dungeon. And to do that, we're going to play one of three. Now, our options are, she's either going to go the physical route and use brute strength, which means we have to read a physical book. Or she's going to use her wits, and we are going to use an audiobook. So I have picked 3 of each, and we're going to let this will actually be one of 6, decide what our winner will be. So let me grab the options. Okay, we have Don't Judge a Book by Her Cover by Allie Carter. This continues the Gallagher Girls, part 3. And I have School Spirits by Rachel Hawkins, the last one in the Hex Hall series. This is actually a companion book to the trilogy. It's a spin-off from one of the Sky characters set at the same school. Looking forward to that too. And then I have part 2 in this bind-up of The Fallen and Leviathan. I've read part 1, and I'm really struggling with, for some reason, I've lost interest in it. But I do want to finish this one before I decide if I'm keeping the series or not. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to knock this book out. And this is YA fantasy with angels. So those are the physical. For the audio, the 3 options are Welcome to the World, Baby Girl by Fannie Flagg. And I have already started this audiobook, really enjoying it, but I'm struggling to find the time to listen to it because when I listen to my audios, I work on my diamond painting. I can't multitask, otherwise I won't hear a word. So I still have 10 and a half hours left in this book, so I'm okay with including it. Okay, then I have Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. She played Lorelai Gilmore in the Gilmore Girls, and this is a memoir based on her time in the show. So this one is shorter. It's only 4.5 hours. And then my third option is Agent 355. This is a very short novella. It's like 2.5 hours. And this is historical fiction set during the American Revolution, spy story, I believe. Okay, so those are my 6. We need to find out what order they're going to be stacked in. I still have not made a pretty version of this, but that's okay. We'll go with my chicken scratch. Trying to open it one-handed. Not working. Okay, so we're going by rating. I've got to look up the rating of each of these books. Lowest will be on the top and the highest. Okay, so I'm going to look these up and stack them by rating. Okay, according to Storygraph ratings, our lowest, so first on the stack will be The Fallen. This came in at 3.38. After that, we have Agent 355 at 3.61. Welcome to the World, Baby Girl, and School Spirits were both tied at 3.73. So to break the tie, I went to Goodreads. So Welcome to the World, Baby Girl has 3.91 for its rating, and School Spirit is 3.92. So it's interesting that they're both so close. So next would be Baby Girl and then School Spirit. Talking as Fast as I Can has a rating of 3.96. And our highest rated was Don't Judge a Girl by Her Cover at 4.07. Okay, now it is stacked lowest to highest. I am going to draw rocks for this since we have 6, and I have a feeling this video is getting quite long anyway. Okay, I have all 6. Put them in this little bag. Give it a shake. Whichever number I get will be the book that I will be reading, and that will determine if Nosilla is going by physical strength or her wits. And we get book 4. Here's our sack. So 1, nope. Agent 355, nope. Baby Girl, nope. School Spirits. So Nosilla is going to be relying on her brawn to get herself out of this dungeon. That should be interesting because she is more of a pacifist, nature-loving kind of soul. So we'll see how she does. We will find out next month if she makes any progress or not. All right, so that wraps up my extras that I'll be reading this month. So these and Powerless will be added to my TBR for January. And now I have my full list, so I am ready to play Bingo Maze. Yes. And I plan to start that tomorrow. All right. Thank you once again for filling up my rec wheel. If anyone wanted to get a book on there and you haven't had the chance yet, then you can add one now. Just note a book you would like me to read with the author and pick some random page stops for me for that reading vlog. All right. Oh, and if anybody wants to change the book, you are more than welcome to do that at any time. I'm going to go. I've got to go to my brother's. We're doing Christmas. Today's January 7th. I haven't seen my family do Christmas yet. All right. Y'all have a great one, and I will see you day after tomorrow. Bye. Oh, we'll be starting our January buddy read. All right. See you soon. Bye now.